Welcome back to the Religious Treehouse. I'm Jodie.
And I'm Matthew.
How are you doing today, Matthew?
I am doing good. In the saga that I'm sure I've mentioned the past few episodes
Oh yeah.
of my book collecting problem, we
Mm.
have come to a solution. I
Hmm.
have acquired a new bookshelf and I'm so excited for it.
Love
Uh,
that.
and do I have a spot for it? No. But one problem at a time. I have acquired it, it's in a garage, and then once I figure out where it can go, then books can go on it and I don't have to have all these piles of books around. So I'm doing good. We're working towards the problem. How are you doing?
I'm good. I actually also have bookshelf news
Ooh,
because I have two new bookshelves. I was able to get my books out of the storage unit they were in. Shockingly, I have some books on religious studies
ooh.
from before we started this podcast that I did not know I had. And so those are now out, and I will take pictures and send them to you.
Thank you.
But yeah, no, I have
You
my
knew what I was going
books
to ask.
and I'm a very happy girl. Although I was unpacking my books and I looked around and I asked my mom, I was like, is there more books? And she's like, is this not enough? And I was like, no, I know books are missing. Like there's a whole series about cat warriors that's just out with the wind and all of my fourth wing. So, but I'm happy, got my books out and I'm adjusting. I've moved rooms. I'm
Right.
getting
Ooh,
fancy,
fancy.
getting
When
fancy.
I moved across the country, I packed up all my books and stuff. And
Mm,
like when I unpacked them, I'm like, where are all my childhood books and stuff? Like my middle school era books. And I
mm.
was like, I want to reread Percy Jackson.
Yeah,
And then all of my Percy Jackson books were gone. I'm like, oh my goodness, how can I, as an adult, reread Percy Jackson? And luckily, there's PDFs online. I can read them for
yeah.
free. But I must have like gotten rid of them at some point, which is just tragic.
Yeah, I will say J.K. Rowling and Stephanie Meyer are on the bottom shelf of shame right now. Um, Listen, I'm not getting rid of my books. I We need to keep hard copy media for as long as possible. I have a CD collection now. I
Yeah.
found two original Taylor Swift CDs. Those are
Oh,
now safely stored away.
good, good.
And because you can't just rely on the streaming and the internet, peoples. They could just take
So
it
true.
away
They can whenever they want.
whenever they want to. So let's talk. We watched a movie last night, Matthew. What did we watch?
We did. We watched Religulous. Religulous? Religulous. I'm
It's
going with
something.
Religulous.
Okay.
Um, I don't know. Have you heard of this before I told you to watch it?
So according to Connor,
Uh-huh.
we have had people recommend it to us. I
Oh,
don't know where my brain was when those conversations happened, but
like on,
for once he recollected something. It was
on our
amazing.
social media?
No, from like
Oh,
family.
oh, cool.
Yeah.
Um,
They enjoyed it thoroughly. I
hmm.
had a slightly different experience.
Oh, no, I hated this movie. Like, let's get that out there right away. I hated this movie. And a lot of times, like, these movies that I've hated, what have I hated so far? I hated Midsummer, but that's just because it
Yeah.
was scary and I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, let's go to your
yeah,
letterboxed. I'm sure we can see very
I'm sure we
quickly
can find the ones that I
what
hated
you
with
did and did not
lower
like.
reviews. But the ones that I hate generally so far have been like maybe not even ones that we've reviewed, but just like of the religious movies that I hate, it's like the Christian movies that are like a horrible misrepresentation of general Christianity
Yeah.
and like presents a worldview that I think is just completely incompatible with reality.
Yeah.
And this movie does it from the opposite view. It presents a completely ludicrous view of religion from an atheist perspective.
Yeah.
And there's so much in this movie that I can just, oh, it infuriates me. I'm not even like really religious. So, like, it's so upsetting that this is the view of religion that some people have. And I think this movie is a prime example of why we need increased religious literacy
Hmm.
because the number of like false claims
Yeah.
that Bill Maher makes in this movie and like the complete disregard and misunderstanding of religions, I
Hmm.
think is just it's so bad. And then the straw man of looking at religions and usually looking at the edges of religion.
Yeah.
Very rarely, or maybe even at all, did Bill Maher look at like core central teachings, beliefs, practices of these religions. He looked at the outskirts, the random, the offspring groups that don't really represent for the most part, the mainstream
Mhm.
religion. Like, of course, they represent their aspect of of religion well,
Yeah.
but he tends to take radicals and extremists and present them as the main form of religious practice, which I think is disingenuous and done in completely bad faith. But we'll
Yeah.
talk about the details later. So yeah, I hated this movie in summary.
I liked certain parts of it. I really enjoyed the editing at some parts because that really made it for me. But yeah, when you're looking at this, please know it's biased and it's not coming at it from an unbiased perspective, genuinely asking questions. Like, I don't know. And he started it by saying he was there to like put doubt, and then he backtracked on that. And Connor pointed out he kept moving the goalpost
Mm-hmm.
for like his conversation. So yeah, we'll get into the details. Where would we like to start?
Oh, I brief summary of what goes on in case no one
Sure.
here has heard of Religulous.
Yeah. So first we start off learning a little bit more about Bill Maher and his family. His dad was Catholic, his mother was Jewish. They stopped going to church maybe because of birth control. And the views on that, who knows? He then starts in on Christianity and starts talking to people about that. He from there he then moves on to homosexuality
Mm.
and then the Holy Land experience, and then he gets into Scientology, Mormonisms, Judaism, and Islam. And that I would
Yeah,
say is a summary without
it's a
getting
summary.
into
Yeah,
the
he just
nitty
goes
gritty.
from person to person
Yeah,
talking about, and usually, the outskirts of regular mainstream belief for the most part.
yeah,
Uh, and yeah, it's just like interviews where he comes in with pre-prepared questions to just be like, "Hey, I gotcha," and it's just so annoying. But we'll talk about the specifics.
yeah. And when you say outside of the mainstream, I agree, but I also disagree because yeah, there was that guy in Mexico who believed he was Jesus. Sure. The prosperity gospel is so mainstream. And he
But
spent
yeah,
quite a bit of time talking about that without labeling it that.
sure. Yeah, so let's talk about the prosperity gospel. He did talk about that, but I don't think that's mainstream Christianity.
Yeah.
Like if we talk about global Christianity, which he tended to talk about here, he wasn't focusing on American Christianity.
Yeah.
It's definitely on the rise in African nations. Prosperity gospel is definitely on the rise in African and maybe South American. I could be mistaken, but like for the most part, like Christianity. When I discuss Christianity as a whole, my kind of starting point is Roman Catholicism,
Mhm.
because like globally that's kind of the central aspect of it, and then we have the Protestant off branches, and that feels like mainstream Christianity to us
Yeah.
Americans because America is so Protestant.
Yes.
So when we talk about American Christianity, Protestant evangelicalism, that branch of Christianity is more of a starting point. But when talking
Yeah.
about global Christianity, I think Catholicism is a closer starting point. It's not the
Oh,
best,
yeah.
it's not perfect, but the fact that I think if I remember correctly, the only Catholic he talked to was like some random guy he stumbled on outside of the Vatican.
He talked to two.
Okay.
He talked to the astronomer and he talked to
Yeah,
the man outside of the Vatican.
that's true. Okay, and the astronomer was probably
A
the most
Vatican
the
astronomer.
Vatican astronomer. It was probably the most level-headed
Mhm.
like person he talked to, which
Yeah.
like that did best represent mainstream Christianity.
Yeah.
And then the Christians that he talked to Ken Ham, who's known for the Creation Museum and the Ark and stuff like that, and that presents a very American evangelical Christianity for sure. Like that did, and all the faults that Ken Ham has
Yeah.
in his view of the Bible and stuff like that. We can talk about Ken Ham some other time. Um, so like sure that represented evangelical Christianity in that subset, but like I don't know, it just felt like anytime they were talking to Muslims, like it
Mhm.
was he was always pushing this idea of violence. Like Islam is a violent religion.
Yes.
And that's only true in the extremists because that's what Americans are presented. And that's just so not what Islam is for the most part.
Yeah.
It
Well,
just like it would be we've talked about this in our extremist episodes. I don't need to beat a dead horse, but oh, it's so frustrating that he boxes in non-Christianity because that's what we Americans are familiar with as these completely other things that you couldn't interview an American Muslim. He had to go to the Middle East to interview a Muslim because that's where true Islam is. And I don't think that's representative either.
I
But
thought he interviewed that Muslim woman in New York. Was it not New York?
I
Was
don't
she
know.
in London?
It might have been.
Yeah.
I think maybe it was London. I don't know, but it seemed weird to me that so much like I don't know if he was talking about global religion or American religion. He kept bouncing back and forth. Regardless, he presented religions not generously,
No.
not kindly, not at the core of the religion. He presented the religions at the fringes,
Yeah.
and that's very frustrating.
No, it is frustrating. I see that. And I hear that. I do think there was quite a bit of like I think he sprinkled in mainstream stereotypical ideas
Hmm.
into it, but
Yeah,
I mean, no one ever really wanted to talk to him. Like
yeah,
he got kicked out of so many places.
and it was very clear that he went into these conversations not being honest with what the conversations were going to be.
Oh yeah.
It was
No.
very clear that he was going for a gotcha moment. Like when he
Yeah.
was in the trucker chapel, the
Mm,
chapel for truckers, and then he says, "Oh yes, I'm going to debate these people about what Christianity is and how they practice their beliefs. These are
yeah.
truckers. They're none of them are trained
No.
in you know Christian theology or Christian belief or Christian practice. So like, of course, Bill Maher, who comes in with groups of writers, is gonna come out looking like the winner of that conversation. That these
Oh
are
yeah.
fools. It just was so disingenuous and so pandering to the new age atheists that
He
it's
was
very
pandering
frustrating.
to the cynics, to the people who want to
Yeah.
sit there and laugh at the religious and be like, you're so stupid, you're so dumb. He did
Mhm.
not want to engage into actual educational, intellectual conversations
Yeah.
with people who have taken the time to study these religions and to
Yeah.
work with people. What he wanted was to humiliate people.
Yeah. He claimed like, okay, it makes sense to me why the imprisoned or whoever needs religion because it's all they have. But and then he like went on to say, but like to those who are educated and who like don't need that, like why? Like I want to go out to understand why these people have spirituality and why they believe in something so irrational. And he never once did that. He never once genuinely tried to figure that out. He only tried to belittle people, and that was
Yes.
so frustrating. You like the study of religion. If you're starting with belittling, if you're starting with preconceived notions, if you're starting with answers that you already have to the questions, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And I think by doing that wrong in your private life is bad, but
Yeah.
doing it wrong and then publicly presenting it to the world in this movie is just downright wrong. And oh, it's so frustrating.
It's mean. It's
Yeah.
mean, it's unkind to be going to all these different people and being
Mhm.
like, don't you find this religion to be hypocritical and
Yeah.
unkind to people who they believe are undeserving? Yet you yourself are going out to these people who have found a faith in something for whatever reason and dismissing and patronizing them. How
Hmm.
are you any different
Yeah.
than the people you are saying you condemn?
Hmm. No, it's harmful not only to the groups that he's belittling, but to just broader society
Yeah.
that is going to view these religions as less than them now.
It only sows more discord between people
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do things in this manner. If you went into it with the intention of wanting to have honest, blunt conversations
Hmm.
without, because there was something, and Connor and I am going to bring up Connor so much because we watched this together, but I was telling Connor, I was like, there is a thin line between being self assured in what you're saying and being smug.
Yeah.
And he constantly crossed the line into smug.
Yeah. Like
And
he was so far away from the line, like he didn't even know the line was there. He was just smug.
yeah, it was not a good look. And I understand why people didn't want him there. And I just keep thinking of that woman from the Holy Land, the PR woman, her
Yeah.
face. She's like, you didn't tell me he was going to be there. So I'm sitting here thinking, okay, they got a permit to film in the parks.
Hmm.
They probably said it was for a documentary and just didn't include his name.
Yeah.
And they had the permit. They couldn't make them leave because they had a permit to film.
Yeah.
And that's dishonest. And
It
you want to sit there and you want to go talk to someone about, like, well, based upon our society, what are the rules you think people would put in place? Like, do not kill, and like also do not lie. Like, I don't know. So
Yeah. You know that one like really old Disney documentary? I forget which one it is, but where they like throw, was it penguins? They like threw the penguins off the cliff and they videoed it as like proof that these penguins were
yes,
just dumb and they
yes,
just followed the leader.
yeah.
And like
Mm-hmm.
years later it came out, hey,
They threw them.
that was a lie. They just threw them out. It felt very similar to that to me
Yeah.
here, where like Bill Maher was like, "Hey, how can we catch these people unprepared and then just, present this in a way that makes us look good, like we're saying something revolutionary, and these people are all dumb and they're just jumping off the cliff because that's what they do."
You know, you're so right. Because, like, I was sitting there, I was like, the Holy Land is so gauche. There's just something so gauche about performing the crucifixion
Yeah,
on at a 2 o'clock show in the
and
afternoon in broad daylight.
and I've been to the Holy Land like back when it was like still operational.
Yeah,
Oh, like back in my past life, and it was rough. Like it's not good, but
that's no reason for
yeah,
you to go into these places and drag these people in to a narrative you want to spin. Like, if you want to it should have just been a comedy special. You didn't have to drag all these people in. What he
yeah,
wanted was another comedy special.
yeah.
So,
Okay. Um, yeah, so maybe after that broad overview of our complaints, maybe we can look in at some of the specific claims and conversations that he has.
okay, can I get into my first issue with him?
Yeah,
He wants to bring women into the conversation when he's at the mosque, yet he did not speak to a single female religious leader.
yeah,
Not a single woman other than just women who were walking around. Like,
yeah,
really, like he did not. I think, I don't know. I feel like he took a position on it and then did not follow through
yeah.
with
He's
backing up his position.
because that's just such a common critique of Islam is,
Yeah.
oh, you don't treat women well. So I'm gonna make fun of Islam because look, you're not treating women well. It's like, come on, Bill, like why aren't you treating women well?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so no, for sure, 100% valid critique.
So that was my first one. What's yours?
Yeah, I think the tiny trucker chapel at one point
Mm,
he asks, "Are you bothered by any of the things in Christianity that aren't in the Bible?
yeah.
Original sin, immaculate conception, that Jesus' birth is only in two gospels, the popes," um, which I think is just a weird argument to bring up because I think that functions that shows the belief that Christianity is the Bible and it's not anything else. And I think that's a problem that a lot of Christians,
Mm,
evangelical Protestant Christians, I think that's something that those groups tend to fall into to believe as well that Christianity is the Bible and the Bible is Christianity.
mm,
But so much of Christianity, so much of all religion is tradition, is this continuous line of tradition and practice and ritual that works together, and it isn't, and it he starts very clearly with a misinformed view of what religion is. To him, religion is a book because he's raised, he knows Christianity and he knows Judaism. He knows that they both have a book. And anything past that book, that's not religion anymore. So I think that's the first problem with this. He
mm.
assumes religion is a book. And that's just not how most religion, if any religion, is truly practiced.
Yeah.
And then he goes on, I think the conversation after that, he talks about homosexuality.
Yes.
How do you feel he handled that conversation?
I think he handled it poorly, and I think he should have gone into it with much more compassion for this man who due to whatever reason, has chosen to take his life in this certain direction. I, if he truly believed that there is no issue with homosexuality, I think he should have had more compassion. At the
Right.
same time, though, I'm very condemning of conversion therapy services,
Yeah.
the people who uphold that. But at the same time, this man probably has had a lot of struggle in his life and has probably felt shame. And then Bill's kind of sitting there mocking him. And I don't know. It didn't sit well. It was unpleasant.
Yeah, he talks to this guy who's, I don't know if he was like on the board or the CEO, or he was some upper level guy
Yeah.
of a conversion therapy group who
Yeah.
he himself was, as he says, formerly gay and now is in a heterosexual marriage.
Yeah.
Which, okay, cool. Like, I don't want to make any claims on that. Bill
Mm,
sure did, but to go into that, it was just so
no.
flashy, and it was just so rude. And I think Bill fell into the common view of, even if he on paper supports, LGBTQ plus rights, he isn't able to see gay people as anything other than their sexuality.
Yeah.
Like, he continuously made jokes about how he sees them as attractive,
Yeah.
or whether or not, like, it just felt so impossible for Bill to see him as anything other than just gay. That was his
Yeah.
entire personality. And if he had hobbies or beliefs or anything else like that, it didn't matter, because that was all his personality was. And it just reduced him to nothing. And I think that's a horrible way that the left can sometimes treat LGBTQ plus people.
Yeah.
I don't know if you picked up on that as well, but
Like, yes and no. Because at one point I was like, oh, he's just playing at the stereotypes. And then I'm like, but I really feel like there's a deeper conversation about partnership that's being missed here,
mhm.
and how, like, all humans, no matter what their sexual preference, deserve partnership.
Right,
And
right.
I think that would have been a better way to take it. So, like, yes, I agree, but also I see how, because the what he's saying is going to appeal to his audience, and he's making
Right.
this to appeal to his audience.
It's appealing to his audience, but I think if there's any critical thought about it, I think he's being maybe not equally homophobic, but he's also being homophobic.
Well,
And like,
yeah,
more power to him to like criticize these very harmful groups that are like pushing conversion therapy and stuff like that. So like cool, that's good, but go about it a better way.
I wouldn't say he wasn't being, because here's the thing, there were so many things. He leans into stereotypes to make jokes. He
Yeah.
relies upon stereotypes for his comedy.
Hmm.
And he leaned into a lot of things when it came to people of color, when it
Hmm.
came to gay people.
Hmm.
It was across the board. He laughs at prejudices, but also uses those to bring laughs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So, not a
abhorrent.
fan.
No, not a fan of that. Real quick, can we go back to the trucker chapel real quick?
Let's go back to the trucker
Because
chapel.
at the trucker chapel is when they were like, Jesus was a historical figure. And
Hmm.
he said no.
Yeah.
And that upset me because
Uh-huh.
we do know Jesus was a historical figure,
Hmm.
whether or not it, the Bible and everything, but he was. And those men were correct in saying that. And he
Right.
dismissed them. And I think that was stupid. Shouldn't have kept it
Yeah.
in.
I think he fell into what a lot of especially like fundamentalist Christians do as well, but on the opposite side.
Mm,
What he specifically was saying is, there is not, I don't know if he said like this verbatim, but he said there's not definitive proof that Jesus existed. And like, sure, like there is not definitive proof that
no.
Jesus existed. What we do have is evidence that you can cobble together to point towards a very, very, very high probability that Jesus existed. And like, you can't say that about most other historical figures. Like Jesus, like 99.99999% of scholars are going to say Jesus existed.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get the occasional mythicist that pushes this view that Jesus was made up, and it's just like no, the evidence overwhelmingly points against that.
Yeah.
And so what a lot of fundamentalists will do when like looking at the Bible and saying the Bible can't have contradictions, will say,
Mhm.
well, there's like a tiny chance that like this happened and the sun was in the right part of the sky, and we look through a mirror and we stand on our tippy toes upside down, and therefore it's possible. And like that's the exact same argument that like clearly is not compatible that he's making. Like, no, Jesus existed.
Yeah.
Did he perform miracles? Who's to say? Did
Who's to
did
say?
he do what the Bible said? Probably not. But we can confirm that there was a historical Jesus. We can say that with a good amount of confidence.
Yeah. You said the word miracles, and I was immediately triggered thinking about that guy in the pawn shop, but that is a jump forward.
Yeah, talk about him.
So this man in the pawn shop, he was an ex-Jew for Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
and he said that there were just so many small miracles that he could not deny the existence of
Yeah.
Jesus.
I think he was
Now,
Catholic too. I think he converted to Catholicism after.
Catholicism,
Okay, there we go. We
was
found
it?
more Catholics. Yeah.
Okay. And oh yeah, because we do see the Virgin Mary holding Jesus, and
Yeah.
it went for $2,700, and he's like,
Yeah.
"What's it run without Jesus?"
In like
But
2008 money too. So I was okay.
so
Yeah.
who knows what that's running right now? But he again talked down to this guy. He's entering these conversations with the intent to belittle.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can sit there and think this man is ridiculous for thinking these things were miracles. But if you're going into this to make a documentary
Yeah.
about people and their faith and how they come to their faith,
Yeah.
but he also said he wanted to put doubt in there. So I guess he
Right.
was doing what he always intended to do. I'm
Yeah.
just wondering who funded it.
And like the guy that can be like boiled down to confirmation bias. You ask
Yeah.
for something to happen, it happens, you remember that. You ask
Yeah.
for something to happen, it doesn't happen, you forget it. Like
Yeah.
it like we could have boiled it down to like, hey, this is confirmation bias, but like it gives him meaning.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine. Like
Who's he hurting?
right, right.
Like really, who is he hurting? He wants to go in and be like, oh yes, all these religious people are hurting people. And I'm like, okay, you're talking about the extremists.
Mhm.
Find the extremists, talk to them.
I think if he wants to make an argument, he could say that he's charging exorbitant amounts of money for
Oh yeah.
religious memorabilia that
Oh
is hurting people financially. Perhaps that could be an argument that he's making. It's not an argument that he did make,
no.
but like like there are ways he could have gone about these critiques that could have been funny, that could have also been genuine, valid critiques, but he didn't do that.
If he had approached this as mm, a mocking of capitalist consumerism within evangelical Christianity,
Yeah,
I think he had had plenty of material for that.
yeah. I think that would have been. I think if he did that, if that was the goal, I think this would have been a good, documentary.
Yeah.
But that for sure was not his goal, and it's not what he completed at all.
No,
Instead,
because
yeah, instead he just spewed misinformation.
yeah.
Like it was
Well,
just complete disregard. So like let's talk about one of my favorite like misinformations that he did. When he was talking to Jesus in the Holy Land,
mm,
like at one point he just starts like listing religious figures that supposedly predated Jesus
mm,
and like were also born on December 25th, born of a virgin, had 12 disciples, yada yada yada, like all these figures that have the exact same life of Jesus that Christians just copied and pasted to make Jesus.
mm,
So wrong. Like all of it is wrong. Like
okay.
it's just completely made up. And like maybe every once in a while there's a similarity between the list of 20 or so people that, yeah, maybe there's like one or
Yeah.
two similarities here and there, which is to be expected. But like he really focused in on Horace.
Mm.
He said like Horace was born on December 25th, born of a virgin, had 12 disciples, was baptized by Anoop, I think was the name he gave, who
Who
was
was
later
then beheaded.
who was then beheaded. He was crucified, resurrected 3 days later, and like yada 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 yada. Like Horace is essentially Jesus. Christians just looked at Horace, stole him, and said he's Jesus now. nonsense. It's
No.
like wrong. Like it's just like made up. Like it's literally just made up. Someone like said this.
Mm,
Like like these facts started coming up in like the 1950s and stuff like
yeah.
that. And it's like no. And like it's similar to the previous comments I
Mm,
made. If you squint a little and stand on your head and like do 4 somersaults and then, make sure it's like the summer solstice, then maybe it will make sense. Like the claim that Horus had 12 disciples.
mm,
That fact comes from what do I have here? I have it in my notes. Um, there was from 1500 BCE in the tomb of Tutmos III.
mm,
There is a picture where Horus is sitting in front of 12 people who have stars over their head. And the claim that this has, supposedly originated is, oh, Horus had 12 apostles, 12 disciples, however you want to say it.
mm,
It's like, no. Horus was, if we know our Egyptian mythology,
mm.
was the god of the sky.
Yeah.
And what we have here is represented the 12 hours of the night, the 12 watches of the night.
Yeah.
And like the anthropomorphized
Mm,
celestial bodies that represent the 12 hours of the night,
yeah.
which is what you would expect for a sky god to kind of have with them. Like at no
Yeah.
point does this represent like celestial, or does it represent disciples or anything that like Jesus could steal. It's
Yeah.
a singular image that we have in one person's tomb and does not like reflect the view of like Horus in Egyptian mythology and
Yeah.
in Egyptian religion. And then you get other depictions of Horus that probably, I don't know, I could be making this one up, but could be like conflating Jesus, where Horus is depicted with his mother Isis. I'm not
ISIS.
I'm not great on Egyptian mythology because my Percy Jackson books were lost forever, and I haven't gotten to the Percy Jackson Egyptian books yet. Uh, bringing it back full circle.
And this is where all of our religious studies is coming from.
Yeah. But I think I want to say Isis. I want to say Horus's mom, Isis.
Yeah.
There's like statues, sculptures of them where Isis is like holding him similar to like the Virgin Mary, like the
You mean
Madonna,
like a
statue of
mother
Madonna.
would hold a child?
Like a mother would hold the child, almost like the goddess of motherhood would hold the child. So there's like images of that some I think have made the claim like, oh look, we're Christian artists are stealing from Horus and Isis because they're the same person. And no, this is all made up. And like all of their claims are made up. I haven't like when I started this, I was like, I'm gonna write down all the claims that he makes and like we'll talk through them one by one. And then you just made so many claims. Like we can't do this. We'll focus in on this one. It's just so wrong. And if you're watching this and you've seen Religulous, let us know what thoughts you want us to talk about on whether or not they're true or if they're completely made up or if they're somewhere in between.
And that would be something that would take up time for us.
It would take
And
up
we
time for us.
could, you know, those are some good backup episodes.
Yeah,
Let's
drop it in
keep
the
that in mind.
comments. Yeah.
Drop it in the comments because I see it. I understand how you could get there, but it's just so surface level.
Yeah.
It doesn't look at the fact that like a lot of things, and I talk about this like dragons, the way multiple cultures
Mm-hmm.
came up with dragons and they
Mm-hmm.
do have similarities to them enough so that people are like dragons existed. And I'm like, but they're just, there is something with the way people develop, like you're going to observe certain things the same, like fertility and
Yeah.
the sky. And I mean, weather's going to be different, disasters are going to be different, but they didn't have a lot going on at the time. So if
I
they
think
observed similar things,
mm,
they just did.
I don't know if boredom is the right answer to that, but like for sure they
Well,
had
they weren't overstimulated like we are.
sure right. They didn't they weren't iPad kids.
They weren't iPad kids. They weren't attached to a screen. Hello, screen. I'm talking to.
Yeah.
They not boredom, but they had more mental freedom to
Sure.
create and cultivate.
I think story was a much more important part of
Yeah,
making meaning. And I
Yeah.
think story still is how we make meaning, but it's
Yeah.
not something that we will admit it makes meaning.
Yeah. So, what
But yeah,
else bothered you
um,
about Bill?
I mean everything. Like we've talked about Christianity. He goes on to talk about a little bit of Scientology and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh. No, Scientology. And I was like, yes, of course you had to get the one guy screaming in the park, and that was your entire thing.
Yeah,
But also, like, based upon what we've researched,
yeah.
I was like, that was accurate. The
I think
explanation of what it was.
my problem with that point is that he lumped in Scientology and Latter-day Saints and other like minority religions. I mean, Latter-day Saints are part of Christianity, but like he lumped in these minority religions and was just like, look how crazy they are. Aren't they just so crazy? And I was like, uh, yeah, but they're creating meaning. Like there's points to these things that you're just not even willing to engage with.
Yeah.
As much as we're annoyed with Scientology, like he's just so dismissive.
Um, yeah, but
Yeah.
you know me. When it's something I don't like, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
that is a sick thing about me, and I'm working on it. I did not know about the Mormon extra planet thing. Like,
Okay, and I think that's a good example of the fringes that he focuses on. Like while that may be a belief of Latter-day Saints, it's certainly not the focus. It's not the central like point that makes a Latter-day Saint a Latter-day Saint. Like
yeah,
it's like like his point of Christianity, like mainstream Christianity, was like so many times he quoted the Book of Revelation.
that made me mad.
Yeah, and it's
I
like
was like, of all the
Revelation.
books,
Yeah, like Revelation, like is not the central part of Christianity. It's like what a lot of like dispensationalist evangelical Christians talk about in like the 80s, but like Revelation does not represent like the majority point of Christianity. I mean, it's
it,
like if he was talking about Christianity and was like, how crazy is that there's a talking donkey? How crazy is it that all Christians believe in a talking donkey? And it's like, it's in book numbers. There's a part in numbers. It's mentioned once. It's not like the central part of the faith. Sure, it's there. It
yeah,
exists. But like,
yeah,
why are we singling that out as like the main thing of Christianity or Judaism?
no,
So
no. And I found it very frustrating how he kept talking revelations and kept giving airtime to people who believe the end is near.
yeah,
And I'm like, my guy, my sir, practice what you preach. If you're like, hey, science is important, science is key, why are we sitting here giving so much screen time talking about end times? I'm sorry.
well, what his goal, he kind of said this at the end, was he was trying to fearmonger. He was trying to say, look how dangerous and scary religion is. We rational minded atheists, we need to stand up, share our voices, and stop the madness of religion. We need to
Yeah,
do something about the craziness of religion and put an end to it. And that is just horrible, harmful, awful language that
yeah,
I hated. I hated the rhetoric that he was trying to push in this movie.
yeah. Again, I really think with the Vatican astronomer, like he was the best person I think who was able to get their point across when he talked about even John Paul II
Yeah,
wrote that we can't deny evolution in a neo-Darwinism world.
yeah,
And I was like, yep, simple as that. I'm like, he's showing you exactly how faith and science can live with each other,
yeah,
but you're not delving further into that.
right.
Like you want to go outside and you want to talk to, well, I mean, I also kind of liked the guy outside of the Vatican because he
Oh,
was
yeah, he
like,
was
oh,
fun.
that's all posh.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, he's like, it doesn't really matter. Like, these are all fake rules. We're just doing it because that's the way it's been done. I could live without it. And I'm
He's
like,
vibing.
you know what? Catholicism looks great. This looks great. Fantastic. Love that. Because, like, yeah, you have rules and but it's like, it's community.
Mm.
he didn't really get into community at all.
Well, no, because to him, religion is a book.
It's a book,
Yeah, and whatever the book says, that's the critique of religion.
dude.
Because yeah, so oh,
Yeah. Okay.
like
Anything else
Chris,
big?
Christianity isn't a religion; it's a book. Judaism isn't a religion; it's a book. Islam isn't a religion; it's a book. All
And
the other religions, not really religions, not really worth talking about.
I
So
really don't
frustrating.
feel like he gave Judaism its time.
Right.
I feel
Yeah.
like Judaism got the least amount of time of the
I mean,
big three.
yeah, or Hinduism you didn't even mention. Buddhism you didn't
Yeah.
even mention. Like
Didn't any of those.
if you want to talk about like crazy, like wild, fun stories, like go to Hinduism. There's so many fun, wild, crazy, exciting stories there that he could have like had so much fun with. And he would have done it in a very disrespectful and awful way. But I think that just shows his limited view of like this, the American view of religion, where the only religions that matter are Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, and like Scientology is fun too. Like we'll make fun of them too.
Yeah.
So, I yeah,
This felt like propaganda, and it felt like propaganda for a specific thing. I'm not going to say the thing, but it felt like propaganda. And that's, I think, where I'm landing with it. I may need to change my rating.
yeah. I'm glad I've convinced you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about. I like we didn't really talk about the details of his conversations with the rabbis or the I assume that was an imam or in the Muslim
Mm.
um but like I think we touched on our critiques of his treatment of Judaism and Islam enough.
Yeah, I think we have. Anything else? Let me see. Oh, when they were talking about more primitive cultures were engaged in war,
Mm,
but then the editing shot to the wars we have today.
yeah.
That was something I liked. I'm telling you, there were elements I very much enjoyed because there are hypocrisies
Yeah.
that I think are that go unaddressed. But
Yeah. And I think that's well said. I think if we are critiquing religion, I think we should I think we should critique it kindly, and I think we should critique the religion. We should not critique individual practitioners. We can critique those like pushing harmful agendas and stuff like that. But I think religions don't need defending. People need defending.
mm,
And I think that's kind of the perspective we should start with.
yeah.
Like, hey, we can make fun of religions, but we shouldn't make fun of individual peoples.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he was doing.
No, yeah. Bad faith.
Bad faith. Yeah.
Bad faith. He wanted to talk to everyone else about their faith, but he
Yeah.
wanted to go in with bad faith himself. And
Ooh.
yeah, but editing
Yeah.
team, A1.
It felt like a very early 2000s, like 2000s form of editing, which was just like the little snippets clipped in of like making
Yeah.
fun. But
You also have to like contextualize it post 9/11,
oh yeah, for sure.
American nationalism on the rise, specific ties with the foreign government also on
Yeah.
the rise, things
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Like you have to think about the culture this was created in, but when you are looking at that, you need to start expecting better now
Yeah.
from people. So,
Yeah.
I mean, product of its time, but still mean.
Well, yeah, I don't think we can justify it by saying it's a product of its
I
time. I think
didn't
it's
justify it.
right, right, right.
I'm
I know
just
you
saying it
didn't.
is. It is. It's not
Yeah,
justified. It is a product of the time it was made in because those
yeah,
were
but
people's feelings and that's what people were paying to see.
yeah, but I think everything is a product of its time.
Oh
I
yeah.
think when we say things are a product of its time, it lessens the harm that it does, and when it shouldn't. Like that, this is doing harm, and by saying it's a product of its time, I think like
Oh,
it's
I've
still
never
being yeah.
taken that to mean that it lessens the
Oh,
harm.
okay.
That's never been my view of that. My view has always been like it is a product of the time it was made in, and you must keep that in mind. You can still you still recognize
Yeah,
it as being very
it
harmful, but
sure it reflects the view of that time period,
yeah,
and we need to therefore reject those views, not
yes,
because time moves on and but because those views are bad.
Those views are bad. We need to move on to it. It's, and he made so many claims about like founding fathers disliking religion. And I agree and I see it and I understand it. And I'm actually really interested in that Bible that John Adams did.
Thomas
Um,
Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson, whoever it was, one of those old white men. And yeah, so
Yeah.
Matthew,
Anyways, what would you rate this movie?
I rated it a 3, but I think it's going down to a 2.
Good, good. I gave this a good, hefty, solid half a star because
Nice.
it infuriated me.
Yeah. Is this a religious movie or a movie that depicts religion or just a mockumentary disguised as a documentary?
Just to spite Bill Maher, I want to say it's a religious movie. Just to spite him.
Just to spite him. No, I would say this had very little to do with religion and more to do with the people who probably paid for it.
Yeah.
So,
Cool. Well, thank you all for listening. This was fun. Jody, do you wanna lead us out?
yeah, if you enjoyed this and you want more, may I introduce you to the playlist on YouTube of all of our other episodes, or if you're on Spotify, just take a gander. We have quite a few movie episodes, almost half. And yeah, find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Bluesky. Email us at theriligioustreehouse@gmail.com. Subscribe, follow at YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and have a great day. Buy a new
Yeah.
book. Keep your physical copies of your media.
Yeah.
Treat people with kindness. And if you're going to enter into a discussion about a serious topic, be sure to listen and not only respond.
Yeah. And share this episode with your favorite atheist.
Oh, yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Thank
Oh,
you. Have a lovely day.
bye.
Bye.